Listen, I know you've been doing one-on-one programs, group, and all of that, and now you've gotten a taste of doing corporate work and you want to figure out how you can make that happen. In this video, I'm going to talk you through the process that I walked through to land an $154,000 corporate contract and how you can use these same principles no matter what your expertise is to land your own corporate contracts in the next 90 days. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this process. We got to do a little backstory to make sure we're all on the same page before we get to talking about this. Now, corporate contracts can range in so many different ways, from doing workshops to consulting to coaching to licensing your course. It could be so many different things. And in this video, we're not going to dive into all the ways that you can position and package a corporate offer. If you'd like me to do something on that, let me know in the comments so I can record a video and talk through how we structure offers. But this in particular, I want to talk about the sales system, the lead generation process that you can do right now. Without having a polished corporate offer, you can use this and get into conversations with organizations who are looking for you right now. Step one, this is critical. You need to understand exactly how your expertise solves corporate problems, okay? So not just nice to haves or things that they could one day invest in, but what is the burning problems that these organizations have right now that is costing them money or keeping them from making more money that you can solve with your expertise? So what does this look like? This could be one of the big things in organizations right now is employee turnover, engagement, and productivity, right? So if you are a mindset coach, for example, your strategies and your methodologies could be positioned with corporations to help them retain top talent and keep them performing at their best. They will open their eyes and open their ears to that because they're always looking for ways to continue to pour into their employees to make them more successful. Because let's be honest, when people are more productive, companies make more money, and that is a reason why they will spend money with you, okay? So you gotta be crystal clear on that. I gave a mindset example, but even if you are in fitness or wellness, there are all sorts of ways that you could tie that to corporate priorities. The main things to think about is remembering that organizations pay to make more money or save more money. So whatever it is that you do, whether it's with the people or maybe you do marketing, consulting, whatever it is, you just need to make sure there's a clear line to the bottom line, which is corporate speak for how they make money. So that's going to be first. The second thing that you want to do in this process, once you've got a clear understanding of what that looks like and how you can position yourself with organizations, is you want to start going on the hunt. So these contracts are not just going to jump in your front door, they're not just going to run in your bank account. You've got to get out here and talk to the right people who actually have decision-making power and the budget to hire you for your services. So where do you do that? LinkedIn is obviously one of my favorite places to begin to build these relationships, but come in closer. Did you know that there's likely corporate contract opportunities right in your network? All around you, you have warm leads, whether that's from past roles that you had or past clients that you've had. I've had clients where they've been brought into corporations simply because they did one-on-one work with someone who worked at a company and that company was looking for a service and my client was brought in. And so those are just warm opportunities that can get your foot in the door and to build some past performance, which is going to be important as you start making these connections. So your warm network, LinkedIn is a great place to do it. Now, you don't have to be a LinkedIn content queen or creator in order to be successful. What you need to just master and understand is how to connect with the right people, how to go and search companies to see who's in HR, who's in marketing, who's in leadership development that you should be connecting with that actually has an ear to the ground on the services that you provide, so it's nothing new to them. And they're already doing programs and initiatives around this, so you coming in and talking about how you can support what they're already doing is an easy way in to have a clear conversation. Now, where most people get this from is they just jump on and talk to anybody and everybody, right? So say you're doing some type of services that support the employees, right? If you're over here talking to people in talent acquisition, for example, which is recruiting, they're not going to know anything about how to get you in to do workshops, training, or coaching with their people. You're going to get ghosted. They're not going to respond, and they likely may not even know who to refer you to depending on how large the company is. Waste of time. Most people think cold outreach, emails, LinkedIn, and all that stuff doesn't work. But when I go in and audit their process, typically they're reaching out to the wrong people, and that's why they're not getting responses. So you've got to get very clear on who is your ideal decision maker. So the people that you serve may be the company employees or the leaders and all of that, but then there's a second person that you need to have an eye for, which is your decision maker. Who has the money in the bank to be able to spend with you? And typically that's going to be your directors, that's going to be your VPs possibly, depending on the size of the company. That might be your learning and development managers if you're going into something that's more leadership development based or employee based. If you're doing services like marketing consulting, that's going to be your marketing teams, but the decision makers over those teams, right? So that's important to really hone in and know so that you're reaching out to the right people. The other one that I suggest to my clients is getting out in person. So when it comes to doing online stuff, just like anything else in business, it's going to take time, it's going to take follow-ups, it is going to take an amount of commitment and diligence. You get that, right? But the way to supercharge this is also make some time to get out in person to conferences, events, and other things happening where your decision makers will be. So one of my favorites is the Association for Talent Development here in Atlanta. Is really huge. A lot of decision makers around my particular area, which is learning and development, leadership development, soft skills, they all are a part of this organization. I actually had a speaking engagement last year at one of their conferences, and that was an opportunity for me to get in front of a lot of those decision makers and build some connections. So you can do the same thing. Search events in your area, search associations and conferences. Now be mindful, we're not talking about your entrepreneurial events. We're talking about the events where the main target audience is going to be decision makers among who you want to connect with within corporations. So I would say for many of you watching this, if you're a coach or if you're a consultant or service provider, you're likely doing some type of transformational work or workshops and talks. And so that's going to be more so related to the employees or the students if you're looking to work with universities. So when I say corporate, that's just an umbrella word, but there are opportunities even in universities and nonprofits that are established, in government entities, of course, and as well as in K-12 schools. So they're all over the place. Now you would just look at, okay, what type of organizations am I going after? And those decision makers, where do they hang out? Where do they hang out in person where I can just go and meet them, talk about what I do, and be able to collapse the time to build a relationship and get them on a conversation. So that's like a three-pronged approach that I typically walk people through so that you can have some of those quick relationships moving fast, but then you also have another process that's working in the background to help you get even more leads, because you're only one person. You can't go to every single event every single day and be able to make those in-person connections. So what I find is to have both of those working for you is how you build a healthy pipeline of opportunities. So once you've identified the companies and the decision makers that you're reaching out to, now it's time to reach out to them. Now, before we get into this, because listen, I'm in rooms with these corporate decision makers, and what I typically hear them say is that they get tired of people reaching out to them, basically asking, what do you have for me? What type of contract opportunities do you have? You know, what is the process and all of this and all of that, right? Typically that gets not a good response because it's giving a job fair. It's giving, how can I get something for me, versus being a thought partner and a strategic partner, which is really how you get paid in corporations. And so when you do your outreach, you've got to be very clear on, again, what is that particular expertise that you provide that ties to their priorities. But more than thinking that you need to have an offer or all your things in place, what you really need to master is the ability to ask the right questions. Because when you ask the right questions, they will essentially make an offer for you that all you got to do is repeat back to them, get them on board, and move them forward in your process. So here's how this works. One of my favorite questions to ask a corporate decision maker is, tell me a little bit about what you're responsible for, your roles and priorities. This is super important because we want to make sure what we're positioning aligns with what they're measured on. So I know some of us, maybe you haven't had a corporate career or it's been a while, but remember things like KPIs, which are key performance indicators, and ways that companies measure your success for promotions, for raises, for all of those things, right? Each employee has those KPIs. So the more that you can get dialed in and know that type of language and be able to ask questions like that, their ears turn up, because then you're seen as someone who's looking to make them the hero, which is another one of my favorite questions or postures that I use when I have these conversations. So when they answer that question and share with you the things that they're actually measured on, you want to make sure you write those things down. And in your proposal or in your pitch, you want to tie in that particular discussion about the metrics so that they're very clear. This is not just for me to come in and do something fun and be rah rah shish kumbaya and then go home, but this is how we're going to ensure that the things you're measured on actually trend up positively, right? We see more engagement, we see more productivity. Now, you can't guarantee that you're going to fix everything within a company, right? And they don't expect that. Companies have many different ways that they do all sorts of things. So they're not looking for you to solely take on their turnover problem. But if you can contribute to it, if you can show them how over time this will help trend up, again, they're open to having the conversation and open to building a longer term engagement with you, because that's what all of this is about, right? We don't just want a one-time deal. We want to be able to get in and do annual and multi-year contracts. And the only way to do that is ensure that you're always tied to the bottom line. What I tell my clients is, it's nice to have, will get you in when things are flourishing and flowing and they've got a lot of excess money to spend. But when those things shrink back, anything that's not tied to the bottom line is going to get slashed. And so I like to make sure that my clients understand from the onset, you want to be positioned as someone that they do not want to get rid of. Once you have that down and you have that conversation and asking those right questions, then you're able to extract the information that helps you to put together a strong pitch, proposal, or offer to them that they will be clamoring to move forward with, because they'll feel like you heard everything that they said and you've actually looked at how you can be a partner to help them achieve what really matters to them. So getting out of our head and what we think is the right offer for them is going to be important, and instead putting on our head of an investigator, putting on a head of a consultant. You probably already are, but you really want to make sure in these conversations you are asking the questions and you're getting the information that you need so you can move forward. Now, once you've gathered that and you found a true opportunity, then you're able to move them to the next stage, which is positioning your offer and closing the deal. With these 3 steps, this is exactly what I use to be able to close that contract opportunity. I know it sounds super simple, but really your next corporate contract is only a conversation away. Even a 6-figure contract is only a conversation away. And if you follow these steps, identifying the right person, translating your expertise, ensuring that when you reach out to them, you actually have a clear picture of how you can solve their problems, and you're using one of those elements that I shared to be able to connect with them. And then once they've said yes and they've engaged with you, you know how to ask the right questions. You know how to dissect the conversation to be able to present them something that they cannot say no to. Chef's kiss every time. So when you follow this process, this is what you can expect. And not only to have one opportunity, but having this repeatable process allows you to build a pipeline of opportunities that you can set to close throughout the entire year. All right, so if this was helpful, number one, I want to hear your comments below. So let me know what questions came up for you, what aha moments, and how you're going to shift as you're moving into this space. And even if you're new to corporate, you're not new to what you've been doing in the past, right? So you still have this opportunity to get in this space. It's literally a blue ocean right now, and people are looking for real experts who understand how corporations work. And that's what I want to be able to do here on this channel to make sure that you're prepared for that. Okay, so now if you're like, this sounds good, I need some more of this. I need to understand, how can I position myself? I need to understand what is my direct line to the corporate priorities that organizations have, or even what my conversation should look like as I engage with them. You are in luck. In the comments, I have a free gift for you, which is going to be my training on exactly how you set yourself up for these opportunities and the questions that you need to ask to ensure that you deliver an awesome experience to these organizations, but again, that they're clamoring to work with you. So check the comments below for that free training. Grab that. It'll be amazing. You'll get to see more of this process in detail, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. Now, make sure before you leave, you give this video a like and subscribe, because I'll be doing more videos on this topic, and I want to make sure that you don't miss it. Talk to you soon.